International flights resume soon for selected countries. Vietnam grants e-visas for citizens from 80 countries. Japanese firms alleged bribery to be investigated. According to World Bank, EVFTA could lift Vietnam's exports by 12%. Hanoi Lotus season, this time not pink but white. Hello and welcome to FBNC News Weekly. Those are the headlines for today's program. I'm Trinh Lê. Now, the U.S. news website Politico has ranked Vietnam the best performer worldwide in the fight against COVID-19. The ranking is based on the COVID-19 impacts on public health and economic outcomes. Politico has mapped the performance of 30 leading countries by plotting their health and economic outcomes, then grouping them based on whether they have instituted light, moderate or severe restrictions. Vietnam is a front-runner regarding both public health and economic outcomes. The country recorded only 327 cases out of a population of 95 million without any deaths. According to Politico, the country's economy is predicted to grow by 2.7% this year, making it the overall best COVID-19 performer globally. Among the 327 COVID-19 infections, there are 187 imported cases. The nation remains clear of community transmissions of the disease for more than 40 days. The Ministry of Transport on May 26 assigned Vietnam Civil Aviation Authority to devise plans to reopen international routes in June. This is to restore investment, trade and tourism activities. Subsequently, the authority has already mapped out plans to restart outbound flights. The National Steering Committee for COVID-19 Prevention will decide on the specific time frame for resuming the activities, depending on the pandemic situation of each country. Since March 25th, international flights have been temporarily suspended in accordance with the Prime Minister's COVID-19 prevention plan. As of May 27th, domestic routes in Vietnam have been reopened, while international ones are still under suspension since April 1st over coronavirus fear. Only flights carrying overseas Vietnamese repatriating home are permitted. Statistics from CAAV reveals the number of passengers traveling on international routes operated by local airlines has witnessed a sharp decrease of 97.6% to only 78,000 since the beginning of the year, in comparison to the same period last year. The COVID-19 pandemic has effectively decimated the revenue of local airlines due to the huge loss of income from international markets between February and May. Economists say the resumption of commercial flights is widely seen as the optimal solution in a bid to stimulate tourism demand amid the current context. From July, citizens from 80 countries worldwide will be allowed to enter Vietnam using e-visas, according to a resolution recently issued by the government. Among the countries are Austria, Poland, Portugal, the UAE, Germany, India, the Republic of Korea, Japan, the United States, Italy, France, China, Russia, and the UK.
The resolution also features a list of border gates and airports that will accept electronic entry, in which 8 airports that will accept e-visas are Nội Bài, Tân Sơn Nhất, Cam Ranh, Đà Nẵng, Cát Bi, Cần Thơ, Phú Quốc, and Phú Bài. Vietnam started a 2-year e-visa pilot program for foreigners from 40 countries on February the 1st of 2017. The pilot scheme did not require foreigners to be sponsored or invited by organizations or individuals in Vietnam, as long as they have valid passports and are citizens of one of the 40 listed countries. Foreigners are not required to be present at representative agencies of Vietnam in their countries to apply for e-visas. Instead, they can apply online via the website immigration.gov.vn. Applications are processed within 3 working days. Each applicant will be provided with a digital code with which they can check the application progress and print their e-visas once they have been issued. They can also present the codes at border gates and airports for scanning of their e-visas. The e-visas are valid for 30 days. Each applicant must pay a non-refundable application fee of $25 via bank transfer.
Party General Secretary and State President Nguyễn Phú Trọng on May 26th directed that the fight against corruption be enhanced and put the common interest above all else, noting that the fight continues despite unexpected major incidents like the COVID-19 outbreak. Party General Secretary and State President Nguyễn Phú Trọng made the direction while chairing a meeting of permanent members of the Central Steering Committee for Anti-Corruption, in which he serves as head. Participants shared the view that since the committee's 17th session on January 15th, despite the complex development of COVID-19, corruption prevention and control, including the settlement of cases under the committee's monitoring, have forged ahead. According to the meeting, civil judgment executing bodies have recovered nearly 7.6 trillion Vietnam đồng from 8 cases with 49 persons involved. Investigation agencies have seized frozen accounts and prevented the transaction of assets worth more than 773 billion Vietnam đồng, along with 34 properties, 5 automobiles and many other assets. The Party Central Committee's Inspection Commission has also disciplined and proposed competent authorities to deal with 1 Politburo member, 1 former member of the Party Central Committee, and 2 former deputy ministers linked with wrongdoings in cases and incidents under the Central Steering Committee's monitoring. Those outcomes have continued to assert the party and state's resolve to combat corruption and been highly valued by the public. Addressing the meeting, party and state leader Trọng requested that everyone steer clear of overconfidence, noting that it's a very short period of time between now and the 13th National Party Congress, but much remains to be done. Calling for strong efforts in the corruption fight, he said prevention and control must be carried out in a stringent, prompt, but also prudent and persuasive manner that is open to the public opinion, ensures solidarity, and puts the common interest above all. The Prime Minister Nguyễn Xuân Phúc has recently signed Decree number 23 on strengthening measures to ensure the enforcement of the rights of children and child protection.
The Prime Minister asked ministries, agencies, and people's committees at all levels to strictly enforce legal regulations on children, regularly review and fine-tune related policies and regulations, and raise public awareness of child protection policies and laws. The Ministry of Labor, Invalids and Social Affairs was tasked with building a national action program for children and child labor prevention and mitigations. It must also regularly inspect the enforcement of children's rights as well as policies and laws on the prevention of child abuse. The Ministry of Health was required to take actions to reduce and prevent malnutrition among children aged below 5, particularly those in remote and ethnic minorities regions. The Ministry of Education and Training must work to prevent dropout, violence, abuse, and accidents at schools, improve the supply of clean waters and safe food at educational establishments, as well as the capacities and professional ethic of teachers. The Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism must prevent child sex abuse and violence, especially in entertainment areas, whilst the Ministry of Public Securities must combat child trafficking and step up investigations and strictly deal with cases involving child abuse. People's committees of cities and provinces were instructed to allocate sufficient funding to ensure the enforcement of children's rights and protections.
Minister of Finance Đinh Tiến Dũng has requested an urgent investigation into an alleged bribery of Vietnamese officials in Tenma, Vietnam, a subsidiary of Japan's plastic products maker Tenma Corporation.
Minister of Finance Đinh Tiến Dũng assigned the ministry's inspectorate to immediately set up a team to inspect the tax department and the customs department of the northern province of Bắc Ninh, where Tenma Vietnam is located. Leaders of those two government bodies were requested to report on recent allegations on Japanese media about bribes paid by Tenma Vietnam company to the tune of 25 million yens, about $232,000 to avoid paying corporate and value-added taxes. Tenma Vietnam was established in 2007 in Bắc Ninh province with a chapter capital of $35 million, fully contributed by the parent corporation in Japan. The company specializes in manufacturing and trading of plastic molding components and plastic molds. Tenma Corporation is a Japanese company that was founded in 1949. According to its annual stock report, Tenma's sales in 2018 were 84.8 billion yens, with 7,557 employees worldwide. The case of Tenma Vietnam came into the spotlight when Japanese media, including Asahi Shimbun newspaper, reported that the Vietnamese subsidiary gave a bribe of 25 million yens, about $232,000 to Vietnamese customs officials. According to Asahi Shimbun, the Tokyo-based Tenma Corporation confessed the case to the Tokyo District Prosecutor. Tenma Corporation reportedly took the initiative to set up a third-party committee to investigate the violation. Bribing foreign governments is a prohibited practice in Japan. According to a report from the committee, in June 2017, Tenma Vietnam in Bắc Ninh received a notice of the collection of value-added tax with imported raw materials up to about 400 billion Vietnam dongs, about $17.8 million. Leaders of Tenma Vietnam proposed to the head office about bribing the local customs authorities for the exemption of these taxes. Director of the Bắc Ninh Tax Department Ngô Xuân Tòng said his department had reviewed all related records, and the Provincial People's Committee has also assigned the Bắc Ninh Police Department to investigate and clarify the case.
The World Bank has predicted that the EU-Vietnam Free Trade Agreement could help Vietnam's GDP and exports grow 2.4% and 12% respectively by 2030. The deal is also expected to bring up to 800,000 people out of poverty.
The World Bank believes Vietnam could enjoy greater benefits from joining the EVFTA and the CPTPP if it conducts overall economic and institutional reforms to comply with their conditions. World Bank Country Director in Vietnam Usman Dion said Vietnam could optimize the deals and reap unprecedented benefits. Requirements on the rules of origin is one of the challenges Vietnam needs to overcome, he said, as a number of made-in-Vietnam products still rely on imported materials. He suggested that Vietnam improve links between domestic suppliers and foreign enterprises that lead global supply chains. Vietnam will become a destination for EU and global investors because of the EVFTA. When FDI increases, however, the number of trade complaints will also pile up. World Bank's representative therefore advised Vietnam to launch a systematic mechanism to deal with complaints between the state and investors. At the same time, priority should be given to key currency earners post-COVID-19. MOIT will partner with the Ministry of Science and Technology this year to supplement and amend the revised Law on Intellectual Property 2009 and review decrees relating to EVFTA.
An interactive video conference on promoting Vietnam-US trade in footwear post-COVID-19 took place in Washington, D.C. on May 27 to connect Vietnamese producers and American distributors and retailers.
It was the first video conference ever held bringing Vietnam's footwear sectors and the foreign market together. As both countries gradually reopened their economies, the conference and its business matching sections provided a platform for Vietnamese firms and U.S. importers to learn about each other's needs and capacities, seek deals, and promote trade in the new normal. The event presented Vietnamese firms with the latest updates on the U.S. footwear market and how it is being affected by COVID-19. U.S. experts also advise Vietnamese footwear makers on specific market segments they should focus on and how to improve competitiveness and properly access the U.S. market. The conference also offered Vietnamese companies a chance to discuss the challenges facing them in exporting footwear to the U.S. Vietnam exported $18.3 billion worth of footwear products in total last year, up 12.8% against 2018. The U.S. remained Vietnam's largest footwear market, buying $6.6 billion, a year-on-year increase of 14.2%. Shipments of footwear to U.S. grew 10% year-on-year to $1.56 billion in the first quarter of this year.
With the aim to promote a green and friendly transportation ecosystem, which helps reduce pollution as well as improve the health of the people, the bicycle sharing model is no stranger in many countries. In Vietnam, this model has only appeared in some tourist cities and has been well received by residents and foreign visitors.
Every weekend, Young Ai Bình uses this shared bike service. With his smartphone, Bình can quickly rent a bike, stop at any charging point to exchange a new one if needed, and make payment online conveniently.
Mình thấy rất là hay, bởi vì thực ra khi mà dùng xe đạp thì mình sẽ hạn chế được cái phương tiện như xe máy, cái phương tiện mà nó gây ô nhiễm môi trường nhiều ấy. Thì mình thấy cái này rất là hay, vì mình thấy như châu Âu ấy, thì họ đi xe đạp rất là nhiều, nhưng Việt Nam mình vẫn chưa nhiều lắm.
The most important part of the shared bike system is that many people can use the service. The system is designed to encourage users to rent a bike when needed and return it immediately when it's not in use so that other people can have it. Bike sharing system is considered a new urban transport solution which contributes to reducing traffic congestion, improving road safety and making the air cleaner.
Trong vòng 6 tháng tới, chúng tôi hướng tới triển khai hệ thống cho thành phố Hà Nội và đặc biệt là ở quận Hoàn Kiếm. Qua việc triển khai hệ thống xe đạp điện kit ở thành phố Hội An và Eco Park thì hệ thống bước đầu có được sự ủng hộ của khách du lịch, khi mà đây là một hệ thống xe đạp mà thân thiện với môi trường và phục vụ nhu cầu đi lại của người dân một cách tiện lợi nhất.
Và cái mật độ người thì đông nhưng mà lòng đường thì quá hẹp. Nhưng tôi nghĩ rằng có thể phát triển thêm những cái khu vực mà có hành lang nó rộng rãi.
Recently, the Hanoi People's Committee had just agreed on a pilot investment scheme in an electric bicycle sharing system, which will first be available in Hoàn Kiếm district. With many bike rental stations across the city and later all over the country, hopefully in the near future, this model will soon prove to be an effective solution towards a safe, smart and connected ecosystem.
A plan to construct a museum specialized in the agriculture of the Mekong Delta has been approved by the People's Committee of the Southern Province of Vĩnh Long. The construction of the museum is a community-oriented project that aims to honor the achievements of regional agriculture and the contribution of the farmers to the economic and social development of the nation.
Vĩnh Long Province has launched the project with the consultation of Cần Thơ University and initially collected over 1,000 artifacts and documents on agricultural implements. Collection and display of the objects at the museum representing local characteristics with an aim to promote the value of agricultural heritages and connect tourism development in the region. Covering a total area of around 11 hectares. At Vũng Liêm district, the museum will exhibit the artifacts and documents arranged according to 4 periods. Agriculture under the Kingdom of Funan and Chenla before 1698, the Nguyễn Lots and Nguyễn Dynasty period from 1698 to 1858, the French colonial period, and that of the Republic of Vietnam from 1858 to 1975, and in the Mekong Delta during the period from 1975 to present with đổi mới or economic reform. According to the director of the Department of Culture, Sports and Tourism of Vĩnh Long Province, the project is expected to cost 400 billion Vietnam dongs from the state budget and socialization resources, divided into several stages of implementation. Work on the museum is set to begin in 2022 and expected to finish after 5 years.
Ho Chi Minh City plans to hold the 7th Áo Dài Festival 2020 in late September or early October this year instead of March due to COVID-19 incident.
Ho Chi Minh City's Áo Dài Festival is an event held by the cities in March every year, associated with International Women's Days, March 8, to honor women's and traditional Vietnamese Áo Dài. After 6 attempts since 2014, the Áo Dài Festival has affirmed the brand of the annual cultural and tourism event, a typical cultural tourism product of Ho Chi Minh City. This year, due to COVID-19 crisis, the 7th Áo Dài Festival has to be postponed. The city planned to hold a festival in late September or early October 2020 to celebrate the Paris Congress and the 90th anniversary of the founding of the Vietnam's Women's Unions, October 20, while continue to promote Vietnamese culture to the world.
Now, Lotus season starts in Hanoi at the end of May and early June every year. Around this time, the rustic streets of Hanoi are full of pink and green color of the charming flower. Its sweet aroma lingers and arises a lot of memorable feelings among visitors when wandering around the ancient capital. Lotus at the West Lake is no stranger, but today we would like to introduce you a white lotus garden 20 kilometers away from Hanoi, which is an ideal place to attract a lot of people to visit and enjoy the national flower.
Taking pictures of lotus is one of Mr. hobbies every summer. In previous years, the West Lake lotus was her choice, but this year, the pure beauty, wide staggered petals of white lotus created a lot of feelings for her one early summer day.
Tôi là một người rất là yêu sen. Năm nay được biết tin ở gần Hà Nội như thế này lại có một cái vườn sen trắng đẹp tuyệt vời như này. Tôi thấy có rất nhiều cảm xúc bởi vì hoa sen là thể hiện cho tính cách rất là cao quý nhất của con người, cho nên là tôi muốn ghi lại những cái hình ảnh đẹp như thế này. Sen trắng trồng rất khó và mọi năm là chúng tôi phải đi rất xa, tận Hưng Yên hoặc là sang bên Gia Lâm.
This unique white lotus pond in Hanoi is located in Tam Hưng Commune, Thanh Oai District, Hanoi, about 20 kilometers from the center, which is a favorite place of many photographers. To capture the faintest, most pretty moments of the white lotus, they often have to come here very early.
Nên là hoa sen thì nó chỉ có mùa thôi và nó rất là thơm và nó đúng là cái hương vị riêng của Việt Nam mình, cho nên là tôi rất thích đi chụp sen.
Đây là lần đầu tiên mà tôi đến đầm sen này thì quả thật là tôi rất là thích đi chụp những cái đầm sen và nhất là vào những cái mùa sen như này. Thì lần đầu tiên và tôi thấy một cái đầm sen nó rất là đẹp. Bởi vì là nó có một cái đặc trưng riêng là nó chỉ là có một màu trắng không thôi. Còn với những cái đầm khác thì nó là sen, thường ở Hà Nội hoặc những cái tỉnh lân cận thì nó là sen hồng. Và đây là một cái đầm mà tôi nghĩ là đấy là một cái địa chỉ và một cái nơi mà khám phá của những người yêu thích sen.
This breathtaking scene of white lotus is just as depicted in the poem by Nguyễn Trọng Tạ. Cuối mùa sen vẫn còn hoa, trắng trong tinh khiết như là nữ nhi, gió ghen cười ấm xuân thì, làn hương e ấp thơm khuy lòng cài.
That has been FBNC News for this week. Thanks for joining us and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.